Celine has its wings. BTS's Taehyung becomes the highest-grossing Korean star across all 4 major fashion weeks. The world of fashion has always been ruled by glitz, charm, and artistry, but this year, it found its heartbeat in one man, BTS's Taehyung. Often praised for his celestial beauty, effortless style, and quiet charisma, Taehyung has now achieved something truly historic. Celine has its wings, the fashion community rejoices, and it's no exaggeration. Because it's Taehyung's presence that has lifted the luxury house Celine to new heights in the global fashion scene. With the conclusion of Paris Fashion Week, one of the most prestigious events in the industry, analysts turned their attention to the earned media value, EMV, reports, which calculate how much influence and value each celebrity or ambassador generates for a brand. And the results, breathtaking. According to the global data platform Lefty, Taehyung recorded an astonishing $13.1 million, KRW $18.9 billion, in EMV, the highest among all Korean stars who attended Paris Fashion Week. That number alone is enough to shake the industry, but what makes it even more impressive is that it accounts for 34% of the total value generated by all BTS members combined, who together reached $39.26 million, KRW $56 billion, in EMV during the 2026 Spring-Summer Fashion Week. This means that Taehyung, as an individual, contributed more than 1/3 of BTS's entire fashion influence, a number that speaks volumes about his global presence and star power. Taehyung's impact did not stop at Paris. Across New York, London, Rome, and Paris Fashion Weeks, he became the highest-grossing Korean celebrity throughout the entire 2025 fashion season. His influence spread beyond borders, cultures, and trends, cementing his position as a true global icon. It's no surprise, then, that Celine climbed the ladder of prestige and entered 8th place in the top 10 brand EMV rankings announced by Lefty this year. What makes this even more heartwarming is that Taehyung missed the previous year's rankings due to his military enlistment. But the moment he returned, he reignited the fire and brought Celine straight into the international spotlight. Through every social media mention, Taehyung became the living embodiment of art meeting influence. His elegant aura and natural sophistication did more than just model fashion. They gave Celine a soul, a story, and a new era of creative prestige. Fans around the world watched him walk through the Paris Fashion Week venue like he was born for it, wearing luxury, yet radiating humility, surrounded by flashing cameras, but maintaining calm composure. It wasn't just fashion, it was storytelling through presence. However, as always happens with greatness, the light also attracts shadows. Despite his achievements, Taehyung has become the subject of unnecessary hate and baseless criticism. Some individuals and media outlets, seemingly obsessed, twist narratives just to gain attention. They post meaningless opinions, not realizing that their very obsession proves his unmatched influence. It's almost ironic, because the same people who claim to dislike him spend hours analyzing his outfits, his gestures, even his silence. But fans, real fans, know better. They know that Taehyung's legacy goes far beyond awards, fashion shows, or charts. It's about his heart, his kindness, his actions that speak louder than words. And those actions are what truly define the real Taehyung. For years, without any publicity, Taehyung has been donating to the SNU Cancer Hospital in Seoul, supporting patients and families battling life-threatening illnesses. This was never announced publicly. In fact, the world only found out because a film director who worked with Park Seo-joon mentioned it casually. That's who Taehyung is, someone who gives quietly, without cameras, without headlines. He doesn't need to show kindness, he simply lives it. Then there's the story of the elderly bracelet maker, whose small business was about to close down. Taehyung wore her handmade bracelets during public appearances, not as a marketing stunt, but because he genuinely liked them. Overnight, her sales skyrocketed, her shop revived, and the proceeds from those bracelets went on to help abandoned animals. It's these quiet, genuine moments that reveal his beautiful soul. Taehyung and Yeontan, the story that warms every fan's heart. Yeontan, his beloved dog, suffers from health complications that require constant care. But instead of giving up, BTS-V dedicated himself to becoming a better pet parent. He met professional trainers, studied dog behavior, and made countless efforts to ensure Yeontan lived a healthy, happy life. His devotion and empathy toward animals show that kindness isn't an act, it's who he is. Taehyung's compassion extends to humans just as deeply. When a fan once shared on Weverse that her grandfather urgently needed blood, Taehyung immediately responded, writing messages in both Korean and English, pleading with fans to help find a donor. Because of his quick action and sincerity, the donor was found, and the man's life was saved. He didn't just save a life, he gave hope to an entire family. When Taehyung released his solo album, instead of centering the promotions on himself, he made the entire experience about armies. He read fan messages, took suggestions for his music, and even spent a full day with one lucky fan like an old friend. His humility breaks the barrier between artist and audience. He doesn't see fans as numbers, but as people who share a bond with him. Even during the pandemic, when the whole world was drowning in isolation, Taehyung became a source of light. While many celebrities withdrew from the public eye, he did the opposite, logging on to play games with fans, chatting with them, sharing music, and spreading comfort. People who felt lonely found peace in his laughter and warmth. He also initiated the online movement to thank healthcare workers and frontliners, which went viral on Naver, trending at #1 for several hours. It wasn't about fame. It was about spreading gratitude and hope during one of the hardest times in history. And then there's his love for children, a side that melts everyone's heart. When a 9-year-old fan wrote to him, saying that he saw Taehyung as his superhero and was struggling emotionally, Taehyung personally wrote back a handwritten letter. Imagine the joy, the healing, and the inspiration that one small act gave that child. For the young fan, it wasn't just a letter. It was magic, proof that kindness still exists in this world. This is the Taehyung we know. The Taehyung who smiles quietly when he's happy, who speaks gently when others are loud, who gives more than he takes. Whether it's wearing $116,950 worth of Cartier jewelry at the Love Your W event, or donating anonymously to hospitals, he carries grace in everything he does. His influence in fashion is undeniable, but his influence as a human being is even more powerful. So yes, Celine truly has its wings, and those wings belong to Taehyung. He has elevated the brand, inspired millions, and redefined what it means to be a global star. Not through arrogance or controversy, but through authenticity, compassion, and quiet excellence. In an era where fame is loud, Taehyung remains soft-spoken, and that's exactly what makes him timeless. And to those who doubt him or spread negativity, remember this. While they talk, Taehyung continues to shine, create, love, and uplift. His light cannot be dimmed by hate. It only grows brighter with every act of kindness. Because real stars don't compete, they illuminate. So, let's celebrate this incredible milestone and the man behind it. Stream Winter Ahead, his heartfelt new track, and support every project he touches. Because Taehyung doesn't just represent luxury or fame. He represents grace, empathy, and strength. Taehyung, the man who shines beyond fame, living proof that kindness and responsibility can coexist with stardom. Taehyung is not just a global superstar. He's a man who carries a sense of responsibility that runs deeper than the glimmer of awards and luxury. From the very beginning of his journey, he has remained grounded, always expressing how much he wants to make his parents proud. Behind the glamour and flashing cameras is a son who constantly remembers the sacrifices his family made for him. He once said in an interview that every time he steps on stage, he thinks of his parents' faces, their struggles, their prayers, and their unwavering belief in him. That's why every achievement, every song, every milestone feels like his way of saying, "I did it, Mom and Dad." It's no surprise, then, that Taehyung has always lived with integrity and gratitude. A shining example of that came when BTS's V received a special commendation plaque for sincere tax payment in Goyang. This might sound like a small headline to some, but in reality, it's an incredible honor. A recognition given only to those who have shown outstanding honesty and contribution as a citizen. For a superstar of his magnitude to be known for paying taxes sincerely shows how deeply he values responsibility, ethics, and being a good role model. It's these moments that separate fame from legacy, and Taehyung is building a legacy of sincerity, one that will be remembered long after the spotlight fades. Never have we adored someone who glows not only in the light of fame, but in the warmth of his heart. His fame is loud, yes, but his goodness is quiet and unshakable. Taehyung's passion is not limited to performance. It breathes through every note he sings, every lyric he writes, and every smile he gives. His music doesn't just entertain, it heals. It speaks to people who are lost, comforts those who are lonely, and inspires those who have forgotten how to dream. When you listen to his voice, there's something magical about it, like it understands your emotions before you even say them. His songs are more than melodies. They're confessions of a pure soul that loves art and humanity in equal measure. In the quiet moments, the way he smiles at fans during concerts, the way he bows respectfully to staff and elders, the way he takes time to comfort someone who looks nervous, you see the essence of a man who never lets fame harden his heart. He treats people with softness, and that softness is his strength. Whether he's greeting fans at the airport, laughing with his members, or speaking humbly at an award show, there's a sincerity in him that can't be faked. Taehyung doesn't perform kindness, he is kindness. It's also the way he lives his daily life. Despite his celebrity status, Taehyung often reminds fans to love simple things, nature, family, and small joys. He talks about wanting to spend time with his parents in Daegu, about the comfort of sharing a meal with loved ones, or sitting under the sky doing nothing but thinking. His humility makes millions around the world feel closer to him, as if they're listening to a friend, not an idol. And maybe that's what makes him different. He never built walls between himself and his fans. Instead, he built bridges. Taehyung's artistry reflects the same values that define his character. Every era of his music, whether it's his soulful vocals in Winter Bear, the melancholy beauty of scenery, or the delicate storytelling in Winter Ahead, carries pieces of his heart. His work feels deeply human, reminding us that art doesn't need to shout to be powerful. It just needs to be honest. Taehyung's honesty, both in his art and in his life, has become a guiding light for fans who see him as more than a celebrity. He's an inspiration, a role model, a symbol of purity in an often chaotic industry. And when he smiles, there's warmth in it that words can't describe. It's not just the smile of a star who knows he's loved. It's the smile of a man who knows he's loved. It's the smile of a man who loves back with the same intensity. When he looks at his fans, it feels genuine, as if he's truly grateful for every single one of them. In that connection lies something rare and beautiful. A relationship built not on obsession or image, but on mutual respect and affection. There's also something profound about how Taehyung carries himself during hardships. Even when he faces criticism or negativity, he chooses silence and grace instead of confrontation. He doesn't lash out or respond with anger. Instead, he keeps moving forward with quiet dignity. That restraint and emotional maturity show how grounded he is. He knows who he is, and he doesn't let the world's noise define his worth. That's what makes him admirable, not just for what he achieves, but for how he carries himself when no one is watching. Through his actions, Taehyung reminds us that success means nothing without goodness. You can conquer the world and still lose yourself, but he's someone who's done the opposite. He conquered fame, yet stayed true to himself. He built an empire, yet kept his heart gentle. And that's the rarest kind of power. Every fan who follows Taehyung knows this truth. He doesn't just influence trends, he influences hearts. He teaches us that grace isn't weakness, that love can be strength, and that being a responsible, kind, and humble person is the greatest achievement one can ever have. So, when the world calls him a superstar, we smile because to us he's much more. He's the son who made his parents proud, the artist who made music healing again, the friend who listens without judgment, and the man who proved that decency still exists in fame. And maybe that's why, when we look at Taehyung, we don't just see a celebrity, we see a light that never fades, because it's fueled by kindness, integrity, and love.